Hello, my lovelies. It is time for another round of Wheel of TBR, so stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Wheel of TBR is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. The way this one works is I spin the wheel 5 times and I pick a book based on the prompt that comes up. Each time I change out the prompt, I also put a mark on the board. If at any time the board gets 5 marks on one slice, I do have to add a bonus spin. I don't mark all my bonus spins though. But then I do have some punishment spins for things if I didn't complete them, and I'm not rolling them over. So that's where we get into how I did last month. Well, normally it's how I did last month. But in this case, when I filmed my wheel last month, it was super early, so I had no idea how I had done the month before. So I need to tell you how I did for both October and November. So October, I ended up with a lot of bonus spins. So I ended up having to pick 8 books. So the first spin I got was Buzzword. For that, I selected The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I did not read this. I don't plan on rolling this one over. So this is one that I'm going to have to take a punishment spin for. For the second spin, I got alternate world, and for that, and this is just a fill-in spot, for that I selected The Quicksilver Court by Melissa Caruso, and I did read that. For readathon, I selected My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I did read that. For adaptation, I selected Candy for Christmas by Joanne Fluke, and I have not read this, but I do still have a week and a half left in November, and I plan on reading this before the end of the month. So I'm going to select this one as to roll over or finish a rollover and not take a punishment spin for. For the spin nonfiction, I selected A Life in Parts by Bryan Cranston, and I did not read that, and that is one that I am going to take a punishment spin for. For one word title, I selected Eldest by, I think it's Christopher Paolini. And I did not read it, and I'm not rolling it over, so I am going to take a punishment spin for that one as well. For Instagram poll, the winner was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I did read this. And for audiobook, I selected Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, and I did read this. So just for October, I have 3 punishment spins. For November, I ended up with 1 bonus spin, so I had to pick 6 books. So for the first spin, I was to read Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson, and I did read this. For romance, I was to read A Novel Love Story. I can't remember the author's name. I have not read that one, but that is one that I will be rolling over, so I'm not going to take a punishment spin for that. For have I read it, I was to read The Smell of Other People's Houses. I have not read this, but I am going to roll this one over, so I'm not going to take a punishment spin for it. For Have I Read It Extras, I was to read Fury Born by Claire Legrand, and this was my buddy read for November, but we kind of got backed up, and we're now going to do this for December instead, so I am rolling this one over and not taking a punishment spin. For Roll the Dice, I was to read The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor, and I did not read this one, but I am going to take a punishment spin for it. And then the last one was Marty Pick, and for that I was to read The Empress, and I did not read that one, so I'm going to be taking a punishment spin for it as well. So I have to do 5 punishment spins. Now, for these punishment spins, I'm not choosing a book or anything, I'm just putting marks on the board, which could end up giving us multiple bonus spins, but we'll just see where the marks land. Currently, I have some danger zones here, places that already have 4 marks. So water, coffee, most anticipated, those are all danger zones. So let's do our first punishment spin. And of course, most anticipated. Yay! So that means we're going to have to do at least 6 spins. Okay, so I'm not changing out the prompt or anything. So that was the first punishment spin, which has added 1 bonus spin on. So second punishment spin. Out of comfort zone, put a mark there. All right, third punishment spin. Comedy, put a mark there. Fourth punishment spin. New author. This one is now a danger zone because it's got 4 marks. And fifth punishment spin. Sprayed edges. All right. So we're starting out with I have to do at least 6 spins. Normally on my bonus spins, I do not mark, but in this case, because it was part of the punishment, I will mark on that 6th spin. Okay, so let's get started. I have a lot of books here in front of me that I'd like to try to fit in. Most of them are Christmassy books, because this is really the only time of year I want to read Christmassy books. So I went through my shelves and pulled off all the ones I could find. So kind of want to fit as many of those on as possible. Plus I have other things too. Oh, once I finish with the wheel, I will go through and I'll tell you my buzzword, my TBR Knockout, and my Merry Bookmas TBR. All right, spin number 1. New author. Yay, we're gonna have 7 spins. Okay, I know what I'm gonna select for new author. For this, I'm gonna go with the group book for Merry Bookmas, which is Pupcakes by Annie England Noblin. I've never read anything by her, but I'm very much excited to read this, and I think it's gonna be super, super cute. And you know, like I said, it's a group book for Merry Bookmas, so I need to read this anyway. Okay, so we will replace new author with a short read. Okay, so we're on spin 2 of 7. All right, here we go. Out of comfort zone. Let me see. So this is one that came in a subscription box that I get, and well, it's a little bit of a genre I don't read. So it's sort of a cowboy romance. This is Lone Wolf in Lights by Stacy Kennedy, and it says you can hide from your past, but you can't escape it, not even with a hot cowboy and a Christmas craft circle. In this lively and poignant romance from USA Today bestselling author Stacy Kennedy. So, yeah, cowboy romance things don't tend to be my jam, but because I did get this in a subscription box, I want to give it a shot. So I think I'm going to count this one for out of comfort zone. And now, this one is a danger zone as well. Okay, let's replace that with anthology. Okay. I think maybe I have one thing of short stories in here. Maybe. All right, spin number 3 of 7. Book that involves a game. Okay. I think I'm going to have to look outside of my stacks here because I don't know that I have anything that involves a game. I am going to look through real quick to check, but I don't think I do. So give me a second. I'll be right back. Actually, I was thinking about it, and for game, I would also consider competitions to fit in that category. And one thing I'm already planning on reading is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, and in there is a competition to become the new like seamstress or whatever for the emperor, and it's like Mulan meets Project Runway in this, meets Aladdin. Kind of a jumble of all three. And I'm going to be reading that. So that's what I'm going to select for a book that involves a game. Okay, let's replace that. Oh, I have to mark it as well. With author that I love. Put a mark on this. Gives us 2 on this one. Okay, we're at spin 4 of 7. Hoopla Wreck. Okay. Okay, let me pull up Hoopla. Okay, so recommended for you. We have What Happens After Midnight. The Honeys. Here, let me just turn it where you can actually see it, and I'll try to see it backwards. So here's what we have. This is hard to do backwards. Wait, what's that? The Quantum Weirdness of the Almost Kiss. I feel like I have that book. I'm hoping it recommends... We got a Clown in the Cornfield. I'm hoping it recommends like a Christmassy book. Okay, so that's everything. Let's see. I believe I have All Our Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban somewhere. I know I've got Clown in a Cornfield. It's like... Where's it? It's somewhere around here. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Clown in a Cornfield. Because I have the second book as well, so I need to see if I like this one. So I think that's what I'm going to select for Hoopla Wreck. Alright, so let's mark that. Gives us 2 here. And we will replace that with Goodreads. Okay. So now we're on spin 5 of 7. Comedy. I definitely have some of those here. Hold on. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go with The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Roche. This is like a take on The Nightmare Before Christmas. It says, get ready for this sexy, quirky rom-com where the golden-hearted Prince of Christmas falls for the totally off-limits Prince of Halloween. So, yay. That's what I'm going to select for comedy. And let's mark that. It puts 2 on that spot. And we will replace comedy with new release. I have a couple of those here. Okay, so that was, gosh, what spin was that? So that was spin 5 of 7. Now we're on to spin 6 of 7. And this will be the last one that I mark for. Also the last one that can give me a bonus spin. Cards against my TBR answer. Actually, that works out well. Okay, so one of the cards I got in my Cards Against My TBR I just played was finding a place to sit down, and for that one I selected a book that I don't have an audiobook for, that I have to sit and physically read, and for that I selected The Santa Company by Belinda Wall. So that is what I'm going to select for that one. I'm going to put 3 marks on there. Alright, so only one more spin. I'm not going to be able to get any more bonus spins from this, and I don't mark on it. Retelling. Alright, spin number 7. Already dropped something downstairs. Y'all heard the loud bang. Author that I love. Okay, let's see if there's any of the authors that I love in the stacks that I have here. Okay, so the only book in this stack that I've read books from that I know that I love the work of this author is The Brightest Night by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the Origin series, and I'm reading these with my coffee patrons. So I will be reading this one and finishing this trilogy with my coffee patrons in December. And I don't mark, but I will replace that. Now let's see what we'll replace it with. Wild card. Pick a book I don't know much about. And I'm leaving this with a couple of danger zones as well. So next time, anthology, coffee, and water are my danger zones. Okay. I've got quite an interesting TBR this month. So now I need to go and figure out my buzzword, my TBR knockout, and my Merry Bookmas TBR. So let me go figure that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm sitting down here on the floor. I've just figured out all of my stuff. So for buzzword, it's any holiday related word, and I have several books here like Santa, candy, Christmas, lights. So any of those will work. For TBR Knockout, the theme is gifts, and the first prompt is to read a book that's been gifted to you or gift someone a book, and I will be gifting some of my coffee patrons some books. Hello, Sneaker. Hi. The second prompt is to read a book with gift in the title or a gift on the cover. Give me a second, the angle's probably going to change, but the book I need is actually under the camera. Okay, for this one I'll be reading One Last Gift by Emily Stone. It says, sometimes the best gifts in life are the ones you don't expect. Okay, so now for my Merry Bookmas TBR. The first prompt is The Santa Claus, read a book with a reluctant hero. So for that one, I'm going with The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutowski. We have Narem, who is tempted by a person named Sid to seek some magic for herself, but she has to surrender her old life and trust a stranger who asks to not be trusted. So there's that. For the second prompt, Jingle All the Way, it's to read a book with a family dynamic, and for that one I've decided to go with 7 Days of Us by Francesca Hornack. We have a family that for the first time in years are all under one roof, and they're in quarantine, locked down for I think a week. Yeah, so family dynamic. For prompt number 3, I'll be home for Christmas, read a book with a quest. I will be reading Furyborn by Claire Legrand for that because our main character, Eliana, she is on a quest to find and save her mother. Prompts 4 and prompts 8 are activities, so I don't have books selected for those. And if you want to see what I choose for those, then you'll have to watch the vlogs. For prompt number 5, Die Hard, that's to read a controversial or polarizing book. So what I did for that one was I just started looking through the books I had selected and looking on Goodreads and seeing how the ratings were. So like the first book I looked at, there was a lot of like 4 stars and 3 stars, occasional 5 stars, but that was kind of like the gist of it. The next one I looked at had a lot of like 4 and 5 stars, but then a lot of 1 and 2 stars and some DNFs in there. So I was like, okay, there's not a lot of in between. There's a lot of like one or the other. So I decided to go with that one. And that is Furyborn by Claire Legrand. Prompt number 6 is It's a Wonderful Life, and that is to read a book with alternate timelines or a time loop. And for that one, I selected The Rewind by Alison Wynne Scotch. And this says 2 exes wake up together with wedding bands on their fingers and no idea how they got there. They have just one New Year's Eve at the end of 1999 to figure it out in this big-hearted nostalgic rom-com. So that's what I have picked for that one. Then we have Nightmare Before Christmas, a spooky or spoopy read for that one. Since I had to read it anyway, I decided to go with Clowns in a Cornfield. Can't remember the author's name. For prompt number 9, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I'll read a book with a grump finding love. For that one, I'll be reading Pupcakes because our little pug here is a grump and he finds love. Next prompt is Polar Express, read a polar fantasy. And for that one, I've selected Voyage of the Frost Heart by Jamie Littler. For A Christmas Carol, that's to read a book with second chances. For that one, I will be reading The Rewind. I already told you. And then for the final prompt, which is The Dog Days of Christmas, I will be reading the group book, which is Pupcakes by Annie England Noblin. So yeah, I have a very large TBR for December, so hopefully I can get a lot of reading done. I think there's a pretty good chance. I think so. Hopefully I can also find a lot of audiobooks for things too, because I want to be able to read while I'm driving and stuff too. So have you guys read any of these books? Are you participating in Merry Bookmas? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!